In the last few minutes, President Donald Trump says the US has reached a trade deal with Japan. He's calling it perhaps the largest deal ever made. To include vehicles and agricultural products, Japan and the US will each pay a tariff of 15% on goods.
Trump says the agreement will see Japan invest $550 billion in the country.
Donald Trump has just signed a major trade agreement with Japan. At first glance, it looks like a diplomatic win, but beneath the surface, the deal raises serious questions. Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda will now benefit from reduced tariffs, giving them a stronger foothold in the U.S. market. Meanwhile, American giants like Ford and GM are left facing higher costs and shrinking margins, still caught under older tariffs on Mexico and Canada. But the consequences don't stop there. This agreement could reshape global supply chains, impact thousands of American manufacturing jobs, and even ripple into tech and export industries. So, the question is, did Trump just empower Japan at the cost of America's own industries? Or is this a strategic gamble with hidden motives? In this video, we're diving deep into who wins, who loses, and what this deal really means for the future of the US economy. If you care about what's really happening behind political headlines, make sure to subscribe now and hit the bell icon, because what you're about to see, most people won't tell you. Trump's trade agreement with Japan might seem like a strategic success, but the deeper you go, the more economic vulnerabilities start to appear. One of the most immediate consequences is the competitive edge it gives to Japanese automakers. With the tariff rates lowered for Japanese imports, companies like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan are now in a much stronger position to flood the US market with cheaper vehicles. On the other side, American automakers like Ford and GM are still stuck paying higher tariffs on vehicles imported from plants in Mexico and Canada. This creates a huge imbalance. American companies now face higher production costs while competing against cheaper, tariff-relieved Japanese cars. Over time, this can lead to market share losses, profit declines, and even job cuts within the U.S. auto manufacturing sector. The damage doesn't stop at car manufacturers. American supply chains are heavily interlinked with Canada and Mexico. Since the tariff relief is Japan-specific, U.S.-based facilities that rely on North American components will continue facing elevated costs. That means plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Texas, where thousands of working-class jobs depend on stable trade flows, could suffer from rising production expenses and lower global competitiveness. Investors in American automotive and industrial stocks are already bracing for increased volatility as the cost of doing business becomes unpredictable and uneven. Japanese part suppliers like Denso, Aisin, and Toyota Bashoku might seem to benefit at first glance, but they're also exposed to the instability. Goldman Sachs has already projected tens of billions of yen in potential losses if U.S. retaliatory tariffs shift or expand unexpectedly. The U.S. may eventually target Japanese components or escalate with new trade barriers, putting suppliers in a vulnerable spot. So even as Japan gains in some areas, its interconnected companies remain at risk. On a broader level, the deal sends a dangerous message to other American trading partners. It implies that bilateral deals may be prioritized over multilateral consistency. That unpredictability undermines global investor confidence. European automakers like Volkswagen and Mercedes, and South Korean brands like Hyundai are also watching nervously. They're not covered by the same relief, yet they share the same markets, and now face an uneven playing field. Over time, this could strain trade relationships, provoke countermeasures, or trigger protectionist policies across multiple regions. Even U.S. tech companies, who depend on smooth, stable supply chains across Asia, could be impacted indirectly. If Japan becomes a special economic partner while others are left out, tech supply chains already fragile post-COVID might see increased costs or strategic realignment. Companies like Apple and Tesla, which source both hardware and software components globally, are particularly exposed to changes in trade terms and transport regulations stemming from deals like this. All of this points to a bigger picture. Economic favoritism and international agreements can produce short-term headlines, but long-term instability. While Japanese firms may benefit now, and Trump can claim a political win, the cost to American companies, workers, and global trade predictability could be far higher than anyone wants to admit. In the end, Trump's Japan deal might look like a bold political move, but economically it paints a more complex picture. American automakers are being pushed into an unfair competition, supply chains face higher costs, global partners are watching with suspicion, and long-term trade stability is now at risk. What seems like a win on the surface may actually turn into a slow bleed for the U.S. economy. That's why it's important to look beyond the headlines, because in the world of politics and trade, every handshake has a cost. If you want more deep breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, because the truth is rarely simple, and we're here to uncover it.